Very good. Tartana Minerals. So Tartana is basically all our projects are focused in far north Queensland. Tartana itself, the name comes from the hills that were deemed to be Scottish tartans because of the copper mineralisation, the malachite nazarite, and that's and basically that's where the whole name has come from and where the company has developed from. Oh, hang on, let me work out. Not that. Right, we're off and away. I come from a geological analytical background, so my focus is all about what are you paying and what are you actually getting. So the way I've started this is looking at what you're paying. Basically our market cap is quite modest. Our enterprise value is 12.7 million. Our market cap up here is around 9 million based on a 4.2 cent share price. When you look at what we have, we've got a philosophy of not diluting shareholders. We've always done capital raises at a premium. Our lowest has been 5 cents. We've got a bunch of convertible notes, so there's a little bit of debt on the balance sheet that you'll see, but most of that is related party transactions. So in fact, a lot are going to the AGM for conversion to convertible note status. Those convertible notes will convert at 10 cents per share, potentially in the future. All the options are exercisable at 10 cents or higher. And we've just announced today that we've got an Alt Resources non-dilutive funding facility up to 5 million where we can draw down an initial tranche of 1 million when we like, basically, and subject to due diligence. What are you buying? Essentially, you're buying... Oops, okay. What are you buying? You're buying existing copper production. So we have a copper production based up at our Tartana mine site near Chillagoe. You're buying potential copper production growth. So we've got copper resources that we're looking at bringing into development. I'll show you in a minute. We've got zinc resources, 39,000 tonnes in an undeveloped deposit sitting on mining leases, on the Tartana mining leases, all open at depth. We've got gold resources in the region of 1 million ounces across 2 deposits, Cardross and Mountain Maid. So there, we essentially announced the Cardross deposit a couple of weeks ago, and we've got an exploration target in addition to that 500,000 ounces at Cardross of 200 to 400,000 ounces. So I'll show you that in a minute. In addition, we've got significant antimony, silver, zinc and lead at our Nightflower project in terms of an exploration target. We can't guarantee it, but there's been historical resources on that project, and we need to get out there and drill that and prove that exploration target up. And I guess also we have one of the most extensive tenement positions in far north Queensland. We are really very much a far north Queensland producer and explorer. So that's our place. Copper production, I talked about copper sulphate production. We have a heap leach solvent extraction crystallisation plant that produces copper sulphate. Copper sulphate is used in the North Queensland mining industry. It's a reagent used as an activator for zinc flotation. We've got 100% offtake with Canaans, and that is sold into that industry. We get paid at the mine gate and we collect a premium. So essentially the pricing of that copper sulphate is 25% copper, and we receive the LME copper price for the previous month plus a premium. So it's a very lucrative business. It's quite simple. We produce 1.25 tonne bulk bags. It's put on trucks and then shipped off. If you look on here we go. If we look on the far side, you can see our revenues have accumulated to around 3 million. Production reflects basically copper availability in the ponds, and it depends on what we're actually doing with the heaps and whether we're mining at a particular time. That's the copper sulphate. Here's the trucks leaving the Tartana mine site off to far north Queensland. creates a healthy cash flow, meets the corporate costs. It's not a game changer, but it just means that we can keep our head above water on the corporate side and then look elsewhere for increasing our production and cash flow. In terms of copper production growth, I don't know whether you've read, but we've been in discussions with a group called MGMF, which are mortgagees in possession of the Mangana plant. The Mangana plant, Tartana, sits directly opposite the Kingvol mine, and the Kingvol mine, historically, Kingvol produced zinc ore, which was trucked 25 kilometres down to the Mangana plant. So the Tartana mine site is directly opposite. We've gone through a whole process of looking at mining so we've essentially got a structurally controlled porphyry mineralisation that continues to at least 450 metres depth. We've only drilled out the upper parts where we've got a resource of around 45,000 tonnes of contained copper. We're looking at a process of partially high grading, partially TOMRA ore sorting to create the feedstock that could feed the Mangana plant capacity, which is around 600,000 tonnes per annum. So if you look at that whole Chillagoe area, it's very difficult to find large-scale ore bodies, and the history of Mangana has been generally that they've mined narrow, limited strike length ore bodies that have been difficult to meet the tonnage requirements for that plant. Here we go. So copper production growth, you can see here, make sure I get it right. This is our open pit. This is all open at depth and potentially along strike. Our grades are around this sort of level, perhaps 0.45, 0.39. That will upgrade. It will almost double on TOMRA ore sorting. The strip ratio, not here, but it's quite low, as you can imagine when you look at this sort of scenario. It's an historic open pit, which has been mined down to about 12 metres, and so the oxide material has been taken out for the past heap leach, and essentially the sulphide just continues at depth. We've worked quite diligently this year. We've done the open pit optimisation studies, we've done mine planning, we've done TOMRA ore sorting test work, we've done flotation test work. It all looks very clean. It's a very nice concentrate, and the mineralisation is very simple, chalcopyrite and a little bit of pyrite. And of course, with the potential Mangana venture, there's a whole lot of tenements and projects that come with that, with the Mangana. We're up here in terms of our leases, but all these projects down through here could potentially form part of the venture and have been in discussions over the last 6 to 12 months. Cardross, we recently announced this. This is around 500,000 ounces. This is likely to ore sort, and I don't know whether you've seen the green and gold prospectus, and no doubt Ted or Quentin will talk to you about the 8 times uplift in terms of grade and the 91% metal recovery that occurs. Wanda is nearby down here in terms of this. This is the 500,000 tonne gold resource that we've announced. This is the 200,000 to 400,000 ounce exploration target. The brown is IP, and so we're quite confident, and there's some drilling through that we're quite confident that if we start drilling out, particularly the southern part and areas where there's actually holes in that resource, that we'll hit mineralisation and start to upgrade that exploration target and also increase that existing resource. Further south, about 10 kilometres south of Cardross, is Mountain Maid. We've previously announced a 415,000 ounce resource there at around a 0.34 gram per tonne at about a 0.2 cut-off. Again, that will ore sort, and it comes with a whole host of minor metals which could be quite attractive and could ore sort into that concentrate. Mountain Maid is certainly open to the south, so you can see there's a couple of intersections there. better make sure I press the right button. So these, the last two intersections here are these 1.3, 19 at 1.3 and 34 and 16 at 1.28 grams. So we need to get in there and drill those, and they could potentially lift the average, lift the average resource grade. How does it all fit together and what's the geography look like? Essentially, Tartana's up here, Mangana processing facilities down here, Cardross sits here, and Mountain Maid. So potentially, if Mangana, and whether or not a CIL circuit is placed at Mangana, but companies like the off-takers like Glencore and so forth are quite happy to have gold sitting in copper concentrate. And so you could envisage that multiple trucking, ore sorting on the various mine sites and multiple trucking coming back to the Mangana processing facility for processing. The exploration, we've got an exploration target at Nightflower. This is the high-grade antimony, silver, lead, zinc. We really need to get out and drill this. This is some historic, better get this right, historic IP. It's only been drilled around the digger lode. We need to essentially drill along this target, and we do have a lot of exploration tenure around this. So this is the north side of that featherbed cauldron, and there's a lot of exploration opportunities there that have never been followed up historically, whereas further south they have been, like Iltani and so forth. Daisy Bell, as part of the QSM, Queensland Strategic Metals acquisition last year, Daisy Bell was probably the lead project. We've got some very exciting tin grades, tin and tungsten grades. This is quite an extensive zone of potentially 1.5 kilometres long, and we need to start drilling this ASAP to start turning this into a resource. And lastly, that's the exploration tenure that you can see, so we're well positioned. These are some of the projects in some of the recent QSM ground that has been granted, and you can see there's a lot of prospects there covering quite a wide variety of metals, and these are our key targets. Okay, thank you.